Hey, this is Daniel Hill. I'm joined by Nicholas Daut, Tyler Wallace, and Nicholas Kimmel, and we're going to show you our group project. We decided to build it in Spring for a couple reasons. Mainly, we had more guidance for Spring about using APIs um, because of the work that we did in class with the NASA APOD and the XKCD. And we really thought that we could get things going from there. Obviously, we were mistaken, especially when it came to this form, but we really thought that it would help us. Um, so the API that we chose was Board API. What it does is it has all these different elements: activity, type, participants, price, link. You can submit those and you can get an activity with those parameters, or you could submit nothing and it would still just give you a random activity. And so we immediately saw this and we were like, okay, what we should do is make a form. And so we have a form and then we have a random activity. And as many times as you press the button, it'll keep generating new random activities. So, one of the first things that we wanted to talk about were some of the problems that we ran into when we started making the form. We had no idea how to input the data from the form elements into the API. So one of the first things that Nicholas Daut tried was trying to get it to work in Node. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Nicholas Daut, and at first we didn't really know what language we wanted to use. We started with Spring, and then um, we were all kind of running into issues with getting the API to work. And I thought I would be able to do it in Node because I've been watching a few videos, and I couldn't get the client side and server side to talk to each other correctly to get the data that I was trying to pull from the API and post it up on a website. It just wasn't working right. So uh, I made the choice to switch to back to Spring and try it out, and we got it working. We didn't really run into too many issues there, but I think we should talk about how the cores error,
Oh,
like
right,
how to fix that whenever he tries to like manually go into the website and do it. He'll have to make
right.
it.
Um,
Yeah.
so we're actually using the Chrome no cores that we had to use in the Spring assignment. And we also had to go up here to this lock icon and go into site settings and just allow everything. And once you've done that, it lets you reload and you can see the results from the API. If you don't do that, the spinner will just spin endlessly and you'll never get a result. Um, so another one of the problems that we ran into was we were getting a lot of exceptions on the um, between paid and free activities in certain categories. And Tyler actually, was it Tyler or Nicholas that came up with the solution?
Uh, Tyler figured out activity, and then I went with the
Right.
price.
Uh, Tyler, do you want to talk about how you figured out getting the form elements to? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you go back to the code for a second,
Okay.
so basically it just boiled down to taking the input and saving it in a variable, and then once you if you look at the button, you can see a function. Uh, Wait, scroll back up to the button. Sorry,
This one.
or yeah, in there. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
The button. So you can see that there's a function being called on click called button submit. And when you click that button, what happens is it saves that input into a variable called activity type. And then we grab that value and then we use that value to concatenate the URL. And
right.
then once we figured that out, uh, Nicholas K was able to go in and add a few more form elements.
Right. So another one of the things that we ran into was the exception with the free or paid activities. Nicholas K, you want to talk about the price range?
Yeah, so at first we were trying to just like bring in if it was going to be either a free or a paid activity, and we were trying to use, if you were to look at the board API, there's a price element, and we were trying to use that, and it just sort of wasn't working out, so we had to go with price range. So if you go to the code, I think, yeah, price range. I put in this function right here, price range. So here, can you scroll up a little bit to where they input the price? Okay, you can see there's two options, free or paid, and based on which one they choose, it'll pass in 0 or 1, and scrolling back down, it'll pass in 0 or 1, and then it goes through price range, and depending on if it's 0 or 1, it returns 0 or 999. So let's see here. If you scroll on down to where it's like the URL, yeah, you can see in the URL how the price range works. You input a minimum price, which we just left at 0, and then the max price changes depending on the return of the price range. So the returns are either 0 or 9999. So if they want to do a free option, it would only return free options, and then if they want a paid option, it returns any amount above 0.
Right. So other than that, we went with Christmas colors because we thought it'd be kind of fun, and we're all pretty excited for Christmas, right?
Oh, I
Uh,
thought that was water. I thought that was a watermelon theme.
it can be watermelon. It's whatever. Uh, anything left?
Oh, we can talk about the go back to the random activity.
Oh yeah.
So initially, that button, all it did was on click, it refreshed the page, and then after we figured out uh, the form action with the button, was able to go in and uh, make it to on the other page, on the render. Wait, that is
Yeah.
it. I'm sorry, you're right. I just went in and made it to where when you click the button, similar uh, to the form, it actually calls the API instead of just refreshing the page.
Right. So I guess this way is more in line with this, but functionally it wasn't any different than refreshing the page.
Right. It seemed like having a button that just refreshed the page was kind of a cheap
Yeah,
workaround.
I agree. Um, let's see. Any other problems that we ran into? Honestly, it was mainly on the form page. Um, any other topics that we need to hit?
I mean, I had a little issue implementing the spinner.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too crazy, but I just put a little bit of JavaScript in that updates the HTML, and that's about that.
All right. Well, that's that. Thank you.